can smell it in the air, feel it in the earth. Summer is coming to an end, and everything that once bloomed and thrived and lived is slowly reaching the end of another cycle. It is fitting, really, that September, for me, also marked the end of one cycle and the beginning of a new one. Hey you, welcome to my channel, A Year and a Day. My name is Jenny, and September was a gateway to a new chapter in my life. While the woods smell more and more like earth and wet leaves, and mushrooms are starting to pop up, and the deer and wild boars stock up on food while it's still easy to find, the garden is also slowly moving into autumn mode. I did some cleanup work in September, making sure to leave enough dead leaves for the snails and spiders and other small creatures to hide beneath, now that the days grow shorter and the nights colder. My dream home has a porch attached to the house, where I can spend time outside, sitting and reading and drinking cups of tea, even when it's cold or raining. For now, I will have to accept I will spend less time in my garden the upcoming 5 months or so, until spring shows its face again. When this video is uploaded, I hope to be lying on a beach, soaking in the Greek sunshine, celebrating the fact that I just got married to my favorite human, who I now get to call husband. I am recording this a few days before our wedding, so I can only hope we had a lovely day with our family and friends. I will make sure to include that memory in my October video. In September, I spent a lot of time working on all sorts of crafty projects for our wedding. This is my happy place. These moments where I can spend hours upon hours in my little studio, just focusing on creating something new. I wish with all my heart I could keep spending the majority of my time doing just this, but even that seems to come to an end soon. But more on that in October. For now, let's move to my table and I will show you all the things I created and loved in September. And I apologize in advance if this video will be shorter than usual, but I have a wedding to get to. Let's start with all the stuff I created for the wedding. I promised to show you the invitations I illustrated, so let's start with those. I illustrated me and my boyfriend, and of course included our little boots as well, even though I took some creative liberties concerning her color. I used 2 different kinds of paper: smooth, off-white biotop paper for the prints, and watercolor printing paper for the letters with practical information. I also created bus tickets for the bus transfer we are organizing. I printed everything on our new Epson XP970 printer. and cut everything to size with my guillotine cutters. The whole process was a very good learning experience, and we are so happy with the result. I couldn't help myself and designed the menus and nameplates in the same style. We also created these little thank you gifts for all the guests. Little bottles of limoncello. Which of course needed a custom-made poster to go with them. Creating all these things was so much fun, and I really love how it all came together in the end. I also decorated some hairpins with dried gypsophila, gipskruid in Dutch, which was so much fun. I never really work with flowers at all, but this was really satisfying. I actually bought 2 pretty expensive hairpins with fake flowers months ago on Etsy, because I really thought one of those would be perfect. But in the end, I learned that when it comes to flowers in my hair, at least for me, less is more. So I ended up rehoming the expensive ones and creating these myself for just a few euros. I also decorated our ring box, and this is by far my favorite wedding project of all. I love glass boxes, and I cut this hexagon-shaped one in the perfect size to hold our rings. I then decorated with moss and dried flowers. I used some of the same gypsophila as I did for the hairpins, but I also added a bit of color with pink painted gypsophila and a little dried rose that were part of some dried bouquets I have in the studio. I pretty much improvised the whole thing, and I absolutely love the result. I even added a few drops of ethereal oil, so when you open the box, it smells like pine. And here's how it turned out. Thing just makes me so happy. It's almost a shame to take the rings out. So that's it for all the wedding stuff. Let's move on to thrifting. I only thrifted 2 things this month, but oh my goodness, I am so happy with these 2 finds. I mentioned here before on the channel, I have a real weak spot for random ceramic animals. So when I went to a yard sale, not expecting much, and saw this little guy, it was love at first sight. It is supposed to resemble a Mexican tonala ceramic figure, although I have no idea if it is authentic or not. But to be honest, I don't really care. I love this quirky little guy, and he has been hanging out on my cabinet of curiosities, in front of this picture book I thrifted on King's Day in April. And every time I look up and spot him there with all his parrot brothers, it just makes me smile. second thing I got on Etsy, and it was a bit of a bigger gift to myself. But I did something really scary in September, and I just felt completely okay with honoring that by buying myself this vintage West Germany vase. West Germany is a term used for pottery made in West Germany between 1949 and 1989 by several factories. You can recognize them by the printing and numbers on the bottom, of which the first 3 numbers refer to the design and the last 2 to the height of the object in centimeters. There are many different designs out there, and colors and quality can differ quite a bit between individual pieces. So when I saw this one in the perfect shade of yellow, I was mesmerized. And I'm so glad that I got this for myself. I hope I can tell you a bit more about the reason I gifted this vase to myself next month. Let's move on to books. As promised, I'm trying not to buy any more books until I have read the small library of new books that are in my home. I'm currently still reading June, which I had hoped to have finished by now, but because of all the wedding stuff, it is taking a little longer than expected, which is okay. I'm pretty sure I will finish it during our honeymoon. And I'm not sure yet which book I will start next, but there are plenty of good choices available. I did receive one new book this month, and it's one I pre-ordered on Amazon. It's the 30-Day Sketchbook Project by Minnie Small. Minnie is an illustrator from London, and I have followed her on YouTube for years now. She has a really calming and relaxing voice and makes really good quality videos about her art and her life as an artist. And when I heard she was publishing a book, I was happy to support her by pre-ordering. I've not started it yet, but it looks really extensive and well thought out, and I wouldn't have expected anything else from Minnie. I will leave a link to her book and YouTube channel below in case you would like to check them out. Next up is tarot. Although, even though I did a lot of window shopping, I didn't get any new decks in September. However, I did end up backing one Kickstarter, the Monsoon Tarot. I was on the fence about this one for the longest time, not sure if I would actually end up using it. But eventually I couldn't resist these Studio Ghibli vibes I get from this deck, and that is something I would love to add to my collection. Last but not least, let's talk journaling. First off, I did some shadow work with the Reclaim Oracle. I mentioned in my August video that I'd noticed some passed down beliefs within myself regarding things like luxury and celebrating and splurging. These were things that were kind of frowned upon during my childhood and were considered either a waste of money or a form of showing off. But as an adult, I think life is short and you should allow yourself to splurge or celebrate every once in a while without feeling guilty. And it was important for me to investigate those notions with regards to our wedding and to make sure there weren't any voices from the past still whispering to my unconscious mind. Reclaim Oracle is such a lovely deck to use for stuff like this, and it really gave me some powerful and helpful messages to work with. These are things that will not be solved or healed with one journaling session, but it is a work in progress, and every step forward will help. For September, I had expected myself to work with heavy autumn-themed decks, but instead I chose 3 seemingly random decks I just really felt like working with. Boreís Oracle was a Kickstarter I backed last year. I never really see this one around on TarotTube actually, which I find surprising since I really like it. It's a shame it didn't come with a physical guidebook, but the keywords and artwork are clear enough on their own. And if you really want, there is related poetry available online. I really like the artwork and overall it's just a really clear reader. I paired Boreís Oracle with the Self-Love Tarot, which came into my collection last month. And I just really needed these lovely colors and comforting vibes to guide me through September. Planning a wedding is really stressful, especially when you are already overworked and burned out in general. And this deck just really feels like a warm hug, which was exactly what I needed. I decided to use cards from the Quest deck as clarifiers. This is a 44 card expansion pack to the Spread Machine Oracle I showed last month. But you can also use it on its own. The theme of this deck is gaming, so if you are a fan of role-playing games or video games, you might like this deck as well. I really like all the keywords because they are a lot of fun. But at the same time, the messages are really good, so it's not a novelty deck at all. I also like that you can use this deck in several ways. You could use it to create a spread as a regular oracle, or, and this is the way I like to use it, as clarifiers to a tarot spread. For September, I pulled some really lovely cards. Starting with Seek and Level Up. With that last one, speaking of growth, development, moving forward in life, upward spiral, and becoming a bigger and better hero. After walking away from a day job that wasn't working for me anymore a few months ago, I have been thinking a lot about what my next step in life should be. Going over all of my options is both scary and exciting, and there are definitely limitations. But I also know that no matter what my next step will be, it will be a step forward and away from a situation that was pulling me down. For the King of Pentacles, I will read a little bit from the positive energy guide that comes with the Self-Love Tarot. Become the architect of your life. It is not a question of finding an idea and waiting for an eventual result. It's about working hard to clearly define your goals. This reminds me of one of my favorite sayings: you get what you work for, not what you wish for. I think I definitely used the mana potion for all the creative wedding projects this month, because this card asks, how can you increase your magic, your intuition and your creativity? How can you amplify your abilities to express your talents and manifest the reality that you want? How can you tap into your authentic power? It is also a good reminder to keep my own passions in mind while planning for the next steps the upcoming months. Lastly, I pulled the Sun and Map. And what better card to pull in a month like this than the Sun? Again, I will read from the guidebook for this one. Seize the opportunities, the beautiful moments, and enjoy them. If you believe in yourself, nothing will stop you from moving forward. Map perfectly ties into the concept of moving forward, leveling up, and seeking the skies for my next steps. I also love that I pulled a King and the Sun, who make a lovely couple in this spread. But that might be the wedding on my mind. And that's it. September was chaotic and creative and stressful and full of love. And it was, without a doubt, one of the most special months of my life. I hope you liked tagging along, and I hope you are doing well wherever you are in the world. And I hope to see you next time. Bye!